In the far reaches of the galaxy, the Galactic database was a system revered by all. It was said to be perfect, infallible. Every known species, planet, and civilization was catalogued with meticulous detail. If it wasn't in the database, it simply didn't exist. Among countless entries, there was one that many scholars of the galaxy found particularly amusing: humans. They were labeled not as an actual species, but as fiction. According to the database, humans were mythological beings from an ancient civilization, stories told around fires, whispered among the curious and the adventurous. No credible evidence of their existence had ever been found. The database treated them like an old Earth legend, ghosts or fairies. Earth itself was recorded, but as a death world and inhospitable planet filled with unpredictable dangers. The idea that intelligent life could survive in such a place was laughable. Still, there were whispers. Stories of bizarre transmissions and fleeting signals, strange artifacts that hinted at some kind of sentient life on the planet. But officially, humanity was relegated to the status of a cosmic myth. Just a story. On a routine data-gathering mission, a crew of alien researchers from a distant, technologically advanced species came across something intriguing: a series of coded transmissions emanating from Earth's solar system. It shouldn't have been possible. Earth was supposed to be dead, barren, impossible to support intelligent life. But the signals were undeniable. They decided to investigate, but not out of any fear or caution. No, this was mere curiosity. They were scientists, after all, and the notion of a fictional species piqued their interest. In their minds, the idea of fragile, primitive humans surviving on a volatile death world was absurd. Perhaps Earth was home to some forgotten technology that was responsible for these signals. There had to be an explanation, but it certainly wasn't humans. The Galactic database was never wrong. The crew's leader, a renowned scholar, even laughed at the thought. Fiction. Can you imagine? Some ancient being spun stories around campfires about warlike creatures battling the elements, crafting primitive weapons, fighting wars for survival. They've been classified as nothing more than fables, he said to his colleagues, the humor in his voice evident. They set course for Earth with the intent to settle this once and for all. To expose the error, to confirm that humans were nothing more than a tale from forgotten civilizations. As they neared Earth, the first thing they noticed was the sheer chaos of the planet. Storms ravaged the atmosphere, volcanoes erupted with unpredictable fury, and earthquakes shook the landscape. The environment was more violent than the galactic records had suggested, and for a moment they wondered if perhaps the label of Death World had been an understatement. But what shocked them most was not the planet itself. It was what they found nestled in the chaos human civilization. They observed from orbit, their sensors picking up signs of life, movement, and technology. Crude by their standards, but there was no denying it. Intelligent life was thriving here. Not only surviving, but thriving. They watched as humans moved across the surface, adapting to their environment with a level of ingenuity that shouldn't have been possible. How could a species so fragile exist in such conditions? The crew's disbelief grew as they analyzed the humans further. Their technologies, while not on par with intergalactic standards, were advanced in their own way. They witnessed human engineers repairing machinery, constructing buildings, even launching devices into space. The humans were using resources from their dangerous world to create what they needed to survive. The adaptability was remarkable. Yet, despite everything they saw, the aliens remained skeptical. They thought it might be a fluke. Perhaps some rogue species had colonized Earth and was mistaken for humans. Surely this could not be the same species described in those ancient legends, creatures that fought with sticks and stones. Deciding to get a closer look, they deployed probes to the planet's surface. The probes were designed to be undetectable, gathering data without the inhabitants even knowing. They approached human settlements, expecting to see disorganization, chaos. Instead, what they found was an organized, methodical civilization. Humans had adapted to their world's chaos, not just surviving, but creating structure amidst the disorder. As the aliens observed, they realized something else. The humans were not only aware of their harsh environment, but they had also found ways to thrive within it. Their ingenuity and resilience were unlike anything the aliens had encountered. For a species thought to be nothing more than a myth, these humans had a fierce determination that defied all logic. The Galactic database's classification was wrong. These humans were no fiction. They were very real, and their existence raised more questions than answers. How had they gone unnoticed for so long? How had a species on a death world evolved to the point of thriving in such harsh conditions? And more importantly, what else had the database gotten wrong? The aliens were cautious, yet still held on to their disbelief as their ship hovered silently above Earth's surface. They couldn't deny the readings any more humans were real. But even with that admission, they didn't believe these creatures could truly match the capabilities they'd observed from afar. Their probe footage showed people engaging in complex tasks, but surely it was a fluke. The Galactic database had labeled them as primitive for a reason. Maybe the humans were simply lucky. Surely they weren't capable of advanced intelligence on par with the galaxy's most prominent civilizations. But curiosity overtook their skepticism. They decided to descend further, deploying a small reconnaissance team to get a closer look at these so-called humans. It wasn't an official mission, more of a scientific curiosity. They didn't expect any real resistance, and certainly not any danger. After all, no one had ever been harmed by a fictional species. The team moved quietly, observing humans from a distance as they went about their lives. To their shock, it wasn't the chaos they expected. Humans weren't just surviving, they were thriving. Their society was highly structured. They had figured out ways to harness nature's power, using technology in ways that the aliens hadn't anticipated. But the humans still seemed crude by galactic standards. Their machines, while effective, looked outdated, almost primitive compared to the sleek technologies of the alien world. The team laughed at the idea of these creatures ever posing a threat to anyone outside their chaotic little world. Then came the first moment of true doubt for the aliens. As they watched, one of their cloaked probes malfunctioned. It was an almost invisible device, meant to gather data without ever being detected, but something in the human technology sensed it. Alarms rang out from one of the human bases as they detected an anomaly in the area. The aliens were stunned. How could these creatures, with their primitive tools, possibly detect an advanced probe built to avoid any form of detection? They observed as humans, reacting with military precision, deployed devices to track the signal. Within minutes, the probe was compromised, its signal disrupted, and the humans were closing in. For the first time, the aliens felt a pang of unease. They hadn't anticipated such rapid detection or response. The humans were clearly more capable than the database had suggested. What followed next was a revelation. A small group of human soldiers arrived at the scene, scanning the area with portable devices the aliens didn't recognize. The humans didn't know exactly what they were dealing with, but their instincts were sharp. They were hunting like apex predators, sensing something out of place in their territory. They moved quickly, communicating silently, eyes sharp, scanning for any potential threat. There was nothing primitive about these actions. These were the actions of a species that had survived countless challenges, honing their skills through adversity. The aliens quickly withdrew their probe, hoping the humans hadn't gathered enough data to identify its origin. But it was clear the humans were more advanced than they appeared. They had detected the probe, and their response had been immediate and efficient. The team of aliens, now unsettled, returned to their ship to review the footage. There was no denying it. Humans weren't the primitive, fictional species the Galactic database had labeled them as. Their technology, while rough around the edges, was advanced in its own way. They were adaptable, quick to react, and above all, resilient. These creatures had not only survived on a death world, but they had also thrived, turning the chaos around them into an advantage. Still, the aliens clung to their skepticism. It was one thing to be adaptable, but another thing entirely to pose a real threat. The humans might be clever, but they were still inferior in terms of technology and resources. After all, they were confined to a single planet. What could they possibly do if confronted by a truly advanced species? However, there was a lingering doubt. The humans had detected their probe far too easily. Their rapid response indicated a level of preparedness that the aliens hadn't expected. They had assumed humanity was blissfully unaware of the galaxy at large, but now it seemed that humans were anticipating contact, maybe even preparing for it. The question was, what else were these humans capable of? Their next steps were cautious. They had come to observe a myth, but what they found was a civilization that defied expectations. Humans had developed their own advanced systems, blending technology and intuition in ways that baffled the alien crew. The database had failed them. These weren't simple creatures bound by fate to live and die on a hostile world. These were survivors capable of remarkable feats, who had turned a death world into their playground. As they prepared to gather more data, the aliens couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something. Humans weren't just surviving, they were evolving, learning, adapting to every challenge that came their way. And perhaps, just perhaps, they were more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. The decision was made to escalate. The alien crew, still struggling to reconcile the evidence before them with the Galactic database's classification, decided they needed to go further. Observing from a distance wasn't enough. They had to interact directly with these humans to understand their true capabilities. To do that, they devised a plan. They would capture a human, study them, and learn firsthand what made this species so adaptive, so resilient in such a hostile environment. The team believed this would be simple. After all, they were an advanced species with technology far superior to anything humanity possessed. The human they chose would be plucked from their daily life without incident, studied, and then quietly returned, none the wiser. It was the safest way to gather information without raising any alarm. They couldn't have been more wrong. They targeted a human from a remote military installation, believing that a soldier would provide the best data. But they didn't account for human unpredictability. Their abduction attempt was swift, flawless by their standards. They teleported the human into their ship, confident in their invisibility. Yet the second the human found himself in unfamiliar surroundings, something unexpected happened. He didn't panic. The human remained calm, his eyes scanning his environment methodically. He touched his wrist, activating a small device the aliens hadn't noticed. A signal was sent. And then, as if on cue, the human attacked. With nothing but his bare hands, he overpowered two of the alien scientists. Their superior technology meant nothing in the face of the human's raw combat instincts and adaptability. The team was left stunned, scrambling to restrain him. But not before the human had caused significant damage to the ship's systems. Back on Earth, the signal the human had sent out reached his unit almost immediately. The response was swift and efficient. The humans weren't left in the dark. They knew something had happened, and they mobilized. Within minutes, a specialized military force had been activated, using advanced tracking systems to locate the alien craft hovering just above the atmosphere. What the aliens thought was a routine capture had now triggered a full-scale military response from the humans, and the clock was ticking. As the captured human continued to resist aboard the ship, the aliens found themselves in an unfamiliar situation. They had expected a passive specimen, one they could study and manipulate. Instead, they had a fighter, someone trained to survive, adapt, and overcome any threat, even one as advanced as themselves. The human was no longer just a curiosity, he was a threat, a dangerous one. The alien commander ordered the ship to ascend higher, but it was too late. The humans had already locked onto their position. Before the crew could understand what was happening, Earth's defense systems activated. Satellites in orbit, originally designed for peaceful monitoring and communication, were quickly repurposed. With remarkable speed, the humans deployed electromagnetic pulses and jamming signals, disrupting the alien ship's cloaking technology. The ship was now fully exposed to human detection. Back on Earth, the military had scrambled their forces, readying weapons designed to deal with potential extraterrestrial threats. They had prepared for this scenario long before the aliens ever arrived. The human race had long suspected that they weren't alone in the galaxy, and it seemed that they had taken the idea seriously enough to develop countermeasures. The aliens, for the first time, felt the full weight of human preparedness. The alien crew, now in full panic, attempted to flee. But the humans had already adapted to the situation. Using a combination of traditional and reverse-engineered alien technology, the humans launched a series of attacks. First, they disabled the alien ship's propulsion systems, leaving the craft drifting in orbit. Then, with precision that rivaled the best galactic fleets, they deployed small, fast-moving crafts to engage the stranded vessel. Inside the ship, chaos reigned. The crew, completely unprepared for such a rapid and organized response, scrambled to regain control. Meanwhile, the captured human continued his resistance, using every opportunity to sabotage the ship's systems. He had already managed to disable critical components, leaving the alien vessel vulnerable to external attack. For the aliens, it was an impossible situation. They were the superior species, yet they were being systematically outmaneuvered by a single human and the collective power of Earth's military forces. The human adaptability that had baffled them from afar was now on full display. Every move the aliens made, the humans countered. Every strategy the aliens employed, the humans responded to faster than anticipated. What the aliens had once seen as primitive was now proving to be deadly. Human ingenuity wasn't based on advanced technology or superior resources. It was built on survival, on the ability to turn any situation to their advantage, no matter how dire. The alien commander, watching his crew falter under the pressure, was forced to admit the truth. These humans were not the fictional species the database had claimed. They were real, and they were dangerous. Earth was not just a death world, it was a crucible, a place where life had to be tough, clever, and adaptive to survive. And humans, the apex species of this world, were the embodiment of those traits. As the alien ship was slowly disabled, the crew realized they had no choice. They had to retreat, to abandon their mission and flee back to their home world. The humans had proven themselves far more dangerous than any of them could have imagined. What started as a simple scientific investigation had turned into a desperate fight for survival. In the end, the aliens managed to escape, but not without suffering heavy damage to both their ship and their pride. They had come to Earth expecting to study a primitive species, one they thought was little more than a myth. Instead, they had encountered a force of nature, a species that, against all odds, had not only survived on a death world but had thrived in its chaos. As they limped away from Earth's orbit, the alien crew could only reflect on the lessons learned. Humans were no myth. They were real, and they were far more dangerous than the galaxy had ever imagined. And perhaps, just perhaps, the galaxy wasn't ready for what humans could become. The aliens barely made it out of Earth's orbit, battered and stunned by the human resistance they had encountered. Once they were far enough from Earth's range, the crew sent an encrypted message back to their home planet. It was a full account of the mission, their encounter with the humans, the disastrous attempt at capture, and, most importantly, their realization that the Galactic database had been wrong. The message was clear: humans were not fiction, and they were far more capable than anyone could have predicted. The report was received with immediate skepticism. After all, the Galactic database had been trusted for centuries. How could such an oversight have happened? The ruling Galactic Council convened a special meeting to discuss this newfound revelation. Representatives from various advanced civilizations gathered, each one baffled by the news. Most of them still didn't believe it. How could humans, a species that had been dismissed as a mere legend, pose any real threat? A few voices within the council, however, expressed concern. They had seen similar reports before, whispers of human ingenuity and adaptability. But those reports had always been dismissed as anomalies, exaggerated accounts from fringe explorers. Now, with concrete evidence in hand, they had no choice but to reconsider. The humans, living on a planet labeled too dangerous for intelligent life, had not only survived but had developed advanced strategies to detect and counter extraterrestrial threats. They had, in fact, turned their death world into a fortress. The debate within the Galactic Council intensified. Some argued that humanity needed to be formally acknowledged and invited into the larger galactic community, while others, still skeptical, advocated for caution. If humans were truly as dangerous as the reports suggested, integrating them into galactic society could have unpredictable consequences. What if they couldn't be controlled? What if their unique environment had bred a species that was too volatile for peaceful coexistence? Meanwhile, back on Earth, humans had not been idle. The abduction attempt had not gone unnoticed. While the aliens thought they had escaped undetected, the humans had gathered enough data from the encounter to piece together what had happened. They now knew for certain that they weren't alone in the universe, and more importantly, they knew that they had been watched. The humans decided that they wouldn't wait for the next alien incursion. It was time for them to make the first move. A coalition of Earth's brightest minds and military leaders convened. This was a pivotal moment in human history. They had prepared for this day, the day when first contact became reality. It wasn't the peaceful encounter they had imagined, but it was no less significant. The alien ship's interference had been a warning, but also an opportunity. Humanity would no longer sit on the sidelines, waiting for the next visitor to appear. Instead, they would assert their presence, make their capabilities known, and demand a seat at the galactic table. Earth's leaders devised a bold strategy. They would send their own message to the Galactic Council, not a plea for recognition, but a statement of fact. They had intercepted communications from the retreating alien ship, and through sheer ingenuity, they had managed to decrypt it. Now, they had the knowledge they needed to contact the wider galactic community directly. Using the combined power of their communication networks, they sent a signal out into the stars. The message was simple but powerful: we are humans, we are real, and we are ready. The response from the Galactic Council was swift. Shockwaves rippled through the galaxy as Earth's message spread. No species had ever made such a bold declaration, especially not one as obscure as humans. The Council was forced to reconvene, this time with a sense of urgency. Humanity had announced itself, and the galaxy had to decide how to respond. Some factions within the Council wanted to extend an invitation to Earth, recognizing the humans as equals. They saw potential in humanity. A species that had thrived on a death world could bring unique insights and innovations to the galactic community. Others, however, were wary. They viewed humans as a potential threat, a species too unpredictable and dangerous to be trusted. Their adaptability, their ingenuity, and their willingness to confront the unknown head-on made them a wild card, something the galaxy had never encountered before. The debate raged on, but eventually the Council could no longer ignore the reality of the situation. Humanity wasn't going to be sidelined. They had proven themselves more than capable of handling an extraterrestrial threat, and they had demonstrated an ability to reverse engineer alien technology in record time. The galaxy had no choice but to take them seriously. In a historic decision, the Galactic Council formally recognized humanity as an emerging power. Earth was granted provisional membership in the galactic community, a rare status given to species that had proven themselves through extraordinary means. The humans would be allowed to participate in council meetings, but their actions would be closely monitored. Some saw this as a victory, while others viewed it as a necessary precaution. But humans, being who they are, didn't take this as a mere diplomatic win. They saw it as the first step in asserting their place in the universe. Earth's representatives attended their first council meeting with confidence, fully aware that many still viewed them with skepticism and even fear. They didn't care. Humanity had fought its way into the galactic fold, and they weren't about to let anyone forget it. The meeting was tense. Alien delegates whispered among themselves, some sneering, others watching with cautious interest. The human representatives, however, remained unfazed. They presented Earth's case with clarity and purpose, outlining their advancements, their readiness to contribute, and their desire for peaceful coexistence. But they also made it clear that humanity would not be underestimated again. As the meeting drew to a close, the council members cast their votes. The decision was final. Humanity was officially recognized as a full member of the Galactic Council. It was a monumental moment, one that would go down in history as the day humans stepped onto the galactic stage. But it was also a beginning. Humanity's journey in the galaxy had just started, and no one could predict where it would lead. As the human representatives left the council chamber, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same. The species that had once been classified as fiction had proven themselves to be all too real, and the galactic community would have to reckon with their presence from now on. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, and they were ready for whatever came next.